Want to speak real English from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at EnglishClass101.com.
Knock, knock. Who's there? Orange. Orange who? Orange, you going to teach me English? So the joke here is that the word orange sounds like aren't you. So orange you sounds a little bit like aren't you going to teach me English? That's the joke here. Orange who? Orange you going to teach me English? Knock, knock jokes. Hi everyone, how's it going? I'm Alicia. Have you heard of knock, knock jokes? These jokes follow a question and answer pattern and always end with a funny pun. It starts with one person saying knock, knock, and the other person asks, who's there? The first person gives a name. After that, the second person asks for the surname. In response, the surname typically turns the first name into a play on words or a pun. Please note though that knock-knock jokes don't always need to use first names. Often there are jokes that use common words or nouns that end up turning into another pun. They're pretty easy and fun, so let's check out some more. Knock, knock. Who's there? Alicia. Alicia who? I need Alicia to take my dog for a walk. This is a pun on my name, Alicia. The leash in Alicia sounds like the word leash, which we use. It's like a chain or a rope you put around a dog or maybe a cat's neck to take them for a walk in your neighborhood. So in this case, I need Alicia sounds like I need a leash to take my dog for a walk. The grammar isn't necessarily correct, like I need Alicia sounds like a leash. It's not 100% perfect. When you emphasize with your voice the key word that sounds like the other word, in this case, leash in Alicia, that's what makes the joke, or that's what creates the pun, the wordplay. So it's not, I need a leash to take my dog for a walk, which would be the correct sentence, but I need Alicia to take my dog for a walk. So making my name into the joke is what creates some kind of like interesting point, something funny about it. Knock, knock. Who's there? Dwayne. Dwayne who? Dwayne the sink. It's leaking. Okay, so what is the deal with this joke? Why is this joke supposed to be funny? Dwayne, in this case, we use Dwayne the sink. This is actually a pronunciation joke. The name Dwayne sounds like the word drain, the verb drain, meaning to remove liquid from something. So Dwayne sounds like drain with bad pronunciation. The joke here, Dwayne and drain, the sink, it's leaking. So this is the word play. Dwayne is a bad pronunciation of drain. Actually, this is a pronunciation that you might hear little kids use when they're first learning to speak. Like that R sound can be difficult. So I've heard kids say like Wayne instead of rain, or like maybe drain. Like this sort of W sound can sometimes be, like you can sometimes hear this W sound among little kids who are learning English, like native level, I think. Knock, knock. Who's there? Henrietta. Henrietta who? Henrietta, whole pizza, yesterday. That was Dad. That was bad. That was Dad. That was my dad. Hi, Dad. Henrietta, whole pizza yesterday. All right, what's the deal with this joke? So this joke is more complicated than perhaps the other knock-knock jokes. This joke begins with a feminine name, a girl's name. Henrietta is a girl's name. But when the final line of the joke comes, the word play here is that Henrietta whole pizza. When you put those three words together, we can sort of hear, instead of Henrietta as a name, it sounds like Henry ate a whole pizza yesterday. So Henrietta becomes Henry ate a whole pizza yesterday. The noun of Henrietta, the name, becomes, it sounds like a different phrase, a different grammatical phrase when you put it in this sentence. Henry ate a whole pizza yesterday. Sounds like Henry ate a whole pizza yesterday. Knock, knock. Who's there? Canoe. Canoe who? Canoe stop telling all these knock-knock jokes? No. Okay, so canoe. What's the joke with canoe? Canoe is a long boat that you can paddle in a lake or a river, but that is used in the sentence, can you stop telling? It sounds like, can you stop telling? Can you stop telling? The pronunciation sounds similar to, can you stop telling all these knock-knock jokes? Meaning, please stop. It's enough knock-knock jokes. A play with pronunciation and with grammar to make this word play. Did you like these jokes? Try it and make your own. You can make your own. So if you do, share them with us in the comment section and maybe you can try them out and see if people understand those jokes. If you like this video, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to us if you haven't already so you don't miss out on any more fun stuff that we're doing. Thanks so much for watching and we'll see you again soon. Bye! How is it going? My name is Alicia. Have you heard of knock knock jokes?
Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Memorial Day in the United States dates back to the Civil War. It's one of the two major US holidays specifically associated with fallen soldiers. It was more popular at the beginning of the 20th century than it is today, but it's still an important holiday in the US. Memorial Day was not always known by its current name. Can you guess what this holiday was originally named? Hint: the original name has to do with decorations. We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Cemeteries in the US are usually decorated with flags on Memorial Day. Memorial Day is also typically marked by the firing of large guns or multi-gun salutes in veteran cemeteries. The families of fallen soldiers will oftentimes go to the grave of their lost family member to remember them on this day. This holiday is celebrated on the last Monday of May. Memorial Day has expanded in its scope over the years. Originally only for the fallen Union and Confederate soldiers from the Civil War, it became more inclusive of the fallen from other wars over the years. Today, it's more of a day of remembrance of the dead in general, with a focus on military members. Memorial Day parades with plenty of patriotic imagery are very common. Memorial Day is oftentimes the day, or close to the day, when schools let out for the summer in the US. This is part of the reason that the holiday is so much associated with summer tourism. Families that visit the graves of fallen soldiers, and those who do not, often have cookouts on this day to celebrate the beginning of the warm summer months and their children's time off from school. Memorial Day and Veterans Day are the two holidays in the United States that are closely tied to military members and those who fell in service. Both holidays have evolved over the years. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Can you guess what Memorial Day was originally named? Memorial Day was originally called Decoration Day. The name and the holiday itself have both changed a great deal over the years, but it still remains an important day for veterans and their families. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you have a similar day of remembrance in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. New Year's Day is on January 1st in the US. It's almost universally a day off from work, and in the US, closed stores, gas stations, and other businesses are common sights come January 1st. It's preceded by some of the largest celebrations in the nation, and, weary from being up all night enjoying the parties, Americans tend to take it easy on this day. The song Auld Lang Syne is associated with the New Year celebration in the US. Do you know what this song's title means? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. New Year's Eve and New Year's Day in the United States are both regarded as holidays, though only New Year's Day is an official one. The holiday kicks off late on New Year's Eve when people go out to celebrate in style. This holiday is marked by fancy parties and plenty of parades and other events. Celebrating the New Year across the time zones that cross the US is a popular tradition with those who like to stay at home. In Times Square in New York, one of the biggest celebrations in the nation is held, and this is typically regarded as the official New Year party for the entire country, though each time zone brings in the New Year with its own celebration. New Year's resolutions are popular in the United States, though oftentimes in a tongue-in-cheek way. Most of the time, people will resolve to give up a bad habit or adopt a healthy new habit over the course of the new year. It's almost accepted as a matter of course that people will not follow through on these resolutions, however, and it fits well with the tradition of American sarcastic humor. New Year's Day isn't celebrated on January 1st on all calendars. According to the Chinese lunar calendar, New Year's is usually in February. Depending on the culture and tradition, it can be celebrated on other dates as well. Popular resolutions include quitting smoking, losing weight, becoming more ambitious with goals, and getting a better job. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know what the song title Auld Lang Syne means? Auld Lang Syne means the good old days, or days gone by, depending on the translation. The song is a very old tradition, dating back hundreds of years. The New Year's Day celebrations in the US can easily extend from before midnight on January 1st to well into the afternoon. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? How is New Year's Day celebrated in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is held on the third Monday in January every year in the United States. This holiday is dedicated to the slain civil rights leader who advocated nonviolent action as a way to reform discriminatory laws in the United States. Martin Luther King Jr. Day was not accepted by all 50 states right away. It was signed into law in 1983. Do you know when all 50 states adopted it? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is a federally recognized holiday, but there are celebrations in some cities and not in others. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is tied to the civil rights struggles of the 20th century and beyond. It's very much associated with the struggles of the African American community in particular, but it's also celebrated by most people in the US as a unifying holiday. Celebrating Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy is a complex endeavor. For most people, what he fought for and how he fought for it are equally important. King advocated for the rights of African Americans and other groups who were discriminated against via racist laws. He also advocated nonviolence, and the images of riot police beating unarmed, nonviolent civil rights protesters in the 1960s are largely credited with swaying public opinion. Teaching African American history is a major component of many Martin Luther King Jr. Day celebrations. In fact, many of these celebrations and events tried to inform people about other civil rights leaders who were instrumental in reforming exclusionary laws in the US. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is also celebrated in Hiroshima, Japan, where it is nearly as significant as it is in the US. The city of Toronto in Canada also holds festivities in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know when all 50 states adopted Martin Luther King Jr. Day? Martin Luther King Jr. Day was not officially recognized by every state until 2000. Though President Reagan signed it into law in 1983, many states resisted the holiday or tried to term it something else, such as Human Rights Day in Utah. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Are there any holidays that celebrate a famous historical figure in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Since 1919, November 11th has been a national holiday in the United States. Originally called Armistice Day, Veterans Day commemorates the men and women who served in America's armed forces. This holiday is marked by parades, educational events, and gatherings at memorials to fallen soldiers. There is a specific time of day associated with this November 11th holiday as well. Can you guess what it is? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. The holiday was originally specific to the ending of World War I, but it became Veterans Day in 1954. The end of World War I marked the end of the first global conflict in which the United States had been involved. It also marked the end of one of its bloodiest wars, and, to ensure that people didn't forget, Armistice Day was signed into law in 1919. Veterans Day parades are popular events on November 11th. Today, there are no surviving combat veterans from the First World War, which it was originally designed to commemorate. You'll find veterans of all wars, as well as peacetime veterans, marching in Veterans Day parades in the United States. People who served in the United States Marine Corps also celebrate the birthday of their branch of service on November 11th. The United States Marine Corps was established on November 10, 1775, but the events are close enough to make Veterans Day an important celebration for members of the Marine Corps as well. Most members of the Marine Corps get some time off to enjoy this holiday. Veterans Day was briefly moved to October in 1971. The move did not last long, and by 1978, the holiday had been moved back to its original November 11th date. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know the specific time of day associated with this November 11th holiday? During Veterans Day celebrations, the most important time of day is 11 o'clock a.m. The armistice that brought World War I to a halt was signed on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. Germany's agreement to this ceasefire brought an end to a war whose repercussions would be felt well into the next generation. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you have a similar day in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. On the third Monday of February every year, the United States pays tribute to its first president, George Washington. Washington's birthday is a federal holiday, and federal government workers get the day off. It's not as widely celebrated as some other national holidays, however. Sometimes the holiday is referred to as President's Day. There's a rather odd tradition associated with Washington's birthday and President's Day. Try to guess what it is. We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Washington's birthday is not among the US holidays that are associated with large-scale celebrations. There are celebrations in some cities, but compared to other major holidays in the United States, this one is rather reserved in nature. Washington's birthday is often part of the combined President's Day celebration. Most of the time, President's Day emphasizes the two people who are generally considered to be the greatest presidents of the United States, George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. Washington's birthday is culturally significant to the United States because of General Washington's revered place in history. He was the first American president, and beyond that, he was handed a unanimous electoral college victory to win that office. He is also the most celebrated general in the Revolutionary Army that defeated the British. The biggest celebrations of his holiday are held at the George Washington Birthplace National Monument in Virginia and at Mount Vernon. George Washington designed the first medal intended for the average soldier. The Purple Heart, one of the most respected U.S. service medals in existence, is given to soldiers who were injured in battle, and it was designed by Washington himself. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Believe it or not, sales are a tremendous part of the traditional Washington's birthday and President's Day celebrations. Furniture stores and car dealerships are particularly notable for holding sales on this day. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you celebrate the birthdays of important leaders in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time.
Top 10 American Film Quotes. America is the movie capital of the world, so close that textbook, pop some popcorn, and improve your English the fun way with the 10 most quotable lines from classic American movies. Number 10, Forrest Gump. Anyone who doesn't know Forrest Gump's famous saying,
"My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get,"
has probably been living on a different planet since 1994. This slice of classic Americana centers on Forrest Gump, a simple man from Alabama in his journey through life, meeting historical figures, influencing pop culture, and experiencing historic events of the late 20th century firsthand. Number 9, E.T. the Extraterrestrial. The 80s brought an unforgettable U.S. movie blockbuster, this time in the science fiction genre. Heartwarming E.T. the Extraterrestrial tells the story of a cross-species friendship between a wrinkled knee-high alien and Elliot, a lonely 10-year-old boy. Elliot rescues E.T. from a government search party, but soon E.T. falls ill because Earth is not his home. All ends well, though, with E.T. reminding Elliot that wherever he goes, he'll always be in Elliot's heart.
I'll be right here.
Number 8, The Sound of Music. This American musical film was released in 1965 and tells the story of the Von Trapp family and Maria, the beautiful singer-nun turned nanny. Maria excels not only in her duties as a loving caretaker of the children, but also succeeds to win their father, Captain Von Trapp's heart. This U.S. movie continues to regale all generations with its gentle love story and timeless melodies. One of the memorable quotes was uttered by Captain Von Trapp, addressing Maria.
You brought music back into the house?
Number 7, The Shawshank Redemption. This U.S. blockbuster stars Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman as inmates at the fictional Shawshank State Prison in Maine, United States, and centers on Robbins' character, Andy Dufresne, who was imprisoned for a murder he didn't commit. Andy overcomes many obstacles in prison, famously deciding that
I guess it comes down to a simple choice, really. Get busy living, or get busy dying.
Number 6, Citizen Kane. This 1941 drama set the bar high for visual storytelling, like no movie before it or after it. It starts with the death scene of Charles Foster Kane, a wealthy media mogul. In his last moments, Kane is heard mysteriously whispering only one word. Rosebud. Number 5, Jaws. Jaws topped nearly every US movie list in 1975. It had lines at movie theaters going around the block for months. Not bad for a 27-year-old upstart director, right? Spielberg's breakthrough success told the story of a shark with a taste for human blood. And of course, the human hunt to kill it. Sheriff Brody, after seeing the monster for the first time, tells fellow shark hunter Quint with wide eyes,
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Number 4, Gone with the Wind. Gone with the Wind is a 1939 U.S. movie that depicts the southern U.S. state of Georgia during the Civil War and the Reconstruction period. This movie's storyline gives us insight into how the Southern aristocracy viewed the Civil War and the ensuing political reconstruction. Its storyline centers on Scarlett O'Hara and her struggles to find true love, while maintaining her way of life and her beloved plantation. It is also the tale of true love lost, with its most famous quote coming from the lips of Rhett, the betrayed lover. Scarlett asks Rhett what she will do without him, and where she will go when he leaves, to which Rhett famously replies,
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
1972 epic The Godfather followed the rise of the mafia crime family, the Corleones. In it, Michael Corleone takes over for his aging father, Don Vito Corleone. This brutal, bloody box office hit started a trilogy of Godfather movies. It's replete with quotable lines.
When I make him an offer, he can't refuse.
Number 2, Casablanca. 1942's Casablanca is a classic World War II movie that centers on the life of cynical nightclub owner Rick Blaine in the city of Casablanca in Morocco. The film depicts the difficult choices Blaine must make for love when he has to choose between his love for an old flame, Ilsa, or helping her and her husband escape the Nazis and certain death. The most famous quote from this US movie is a quintessentially American toast.
He's looking at you, kid.
Number 1, Star Wars. 1977's Star Wars: A New Hope kicked off a series that continues to be one of the most enduring hits of all time. This film tells the tale of rebel freedom fighters in a civil war against the repressive Galactic Empire. Star Wars is so beloved that it even landed its own commemoration day, Star Wars Day. The date was derived from the franchise's most famous quote, "May the Force be with you." These words were soon reworked into the mildly funny pun, "May the 4th be with you."
Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Passover is one of the most important Jewish holidays. The holiday is widely celebrated in the United States in areas where there is a large Jewish population. In areas where the Jewish population is not so large, Passover is generally not celebrated. It's not an official holiday anywhere in the United States. A particular type of bread is associated with Passover. Do you know which type of bread this is and why it's associated with the holiday? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. The Passover celebration goes on for up to 8 days. It commemorates the flight of the Israelites from Egypt and one of the 10 plagues that the God of the Israelites released upon the Pharaoh. According to the tradition, the Israelites were commanded to paint their door jambs with the blood of a spring lamb so that they would not be subjected to the death of their firstborn as the Egyptians were. This is where the term Passover comes from. In areas where there is a large Jewish population, many people of other faiths spend time with their Jewish friends during this holiday and learn a bit about the Jewish culture and traditions. Passover is celebrated by secular Jews, though the religious connotations are obviously much less prevalent in these celebrations. Both feasting and fasting are part of this celebration. Community Passover events are scarcely heard of in the United States. This is largely a family holiday with a significant focus on the Jewish religion itself. There are many different rituals related to eating during this time of year and the retelling of the stories behind the celebration of Passover. While it may not be an official holiday, most Americans are well aware of Passover, and people of the Jewish faith are often given time off of work so that they can observe the holiday if need be. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know which type of bread is associated with Passover? Unleavened bread is associated with the Passover holiday. According to the story in Exodus, the Israelites did not have time to wait for the bread to rise before they fled Egypt. Because of that, they ended up traveling with unleavened bread, and it would evolve into a cultural symbol within the Jewish community, as well as an important staple of many people worldwide. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Are there any holidays with religious significance in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Mother's Day is held on the second Sunday in May of every year. It's one of the most important commercial holidays in the nation. The holiday is over 100 years old and was officially declared a federal holiday in 1914. Originally, the holiday was celebrated by hanging a flag to recognize the mothers who had a child who died in war. Today, it has no association with war whatsoever. The first Mother's Day celebrations were associated with a particular movement. Do you know what movement with which it was associated? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Mother's Day is, just as the name implies, a celebration of everything to do with mothers. It's common for people to buy expensive gifts for their mothers, or at the very least, to send them a card showing their appreciation. Mother's Day cards have become among the most commercially successful items associated with the holiday. It's one of the times of year where card companies are just swamped, more so than other occasions. In the United States, children will sometimes really go over the top for their mothers on this holiday. This is particularly true of sons. In families where there is more than one son, it's not uncommon for all of them to compete to get the best gift for their mother. This is truly a day where motherhood is venerated in the United States. While motherhood is the main theme behind Mother's Day, people in the United States only celebrate this holiday for their own mothers. It's rare for people to give Mother's Day gifts to anybody but their own mother. Some families may include the grandmothers in the celebrations, but by and large, this is a holiday celebrated within the nuclear family. The International Mother's Day Shrine is a historic landmark in the United States where the inaugural Mother's Day celebration was held. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know what movement the first Mother's Day celebrations were associated with? Some of the first Mother's Day celebrations were connected to the temperance movement, the movement behind the prohibition laws that went into effect in the early 20th century. Today, however, Mother's Day is completely apolitical. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Is there a day dedicated to mothers in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Father's Day is a relatively recent holiday in the United States, having come into existence in 1972. It's celebrated on the third Sunday of June every year. Though it's not as commercially important as Mother's Day, it's equally important to many families. Father's Day can be a bit more irreverent than Mother's Day in many regards. Lots of people call home on Father's Day. Guess which type of calls are particularly popular during this holiday? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Father's Day is all about showing fathers appreciation for what they do, for acknowledging the role of fathers in children's lives, and in many cases, simply for making an excuse to hang out with one's dad. The holiday tends to have less of the soft imagery associated with Mother's Day, and, in fact, it does have a reputation as being an occasion that is rather lighthearted. Father's Day gifts tend to be, not surprisingly, manly in nature. It's common for people to buy their dad's power tools, neckties, sporting equipment, and so forth to show appreciation. In fact, getting an ugly necktie on Father's Day is something of a cliched joke among fathers across the nation. It's been poked fun at in commercials and in other venues. Father's Day is not quite as popular as Mother's Day. Researchers attribute this partially to the fact that there are more families with single mothers than there are with single fathers, which may skew the popularity of the holiday. The holiday is consistently popular, however, and many families find an excuse to do something special just for the father and the family on this particular day. For younger children, actually making a Father's Day gift is something of a tradition. Many children are encouraged to make something that they think their father would like, such as artwork or crafts, for example. Other children may opt to help their father out with chores. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know what type of calls are popular on Father's Day? Collect calls are particularly popular on Father's Day, somewhat humorously. While fewer people tend to call home on Father's Day than they do on Mother's Day, many of them choose to call collect. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Is there a day dedicated to fathers in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Hanukkah is the most popular Jewish holiday in the United States. It falls on a date determined by the Jewish calendar, but is often very close to Christmas, making for a natural association between the two holidays. It's also called the Festival of Lights and commemorates the rededication of the temple by the Maccabees in the 2nd century BC. A particular toy is associated with Hanukkah. Do you know which one? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Hanukkah is one of the most important Jewish holidays and is one that most people in the United States are very familiar with. The distinctive menorah, a candelabra that is kindled as part of the celebration, is commonly associated with the holiday by most people, Jewish or otherwise. Gift giving is also sometimes a part of this holiday. Even though Hanukkah is not as widely celebrated as Christmas in the United States, it's a holiday that most people are cognizant of, and many non-Jewish people who have Jewish friends do participate in it to some extent. The holiday is also sometimes celebrated by secular Jews to keep the holiday season alive for non-religious reasons. The name Festival of Lights comes from the story behind Hanukkah. According to tradition, the lights in the temple were able to keep burning for 8 straight days, despite only having enough oil to keep burning for 1 day. This tradition is remembered today by the lighting of the menorah. This is the Hanukkah tradition with which most non-Jewish people are familiar, and the menorah is widely known in the United States as an emblem of Jewish people. A Hanukkah gelt is a small quantity of money traditionally given at this time of year. Chocolate coins, though they possess no monetary value, have become popular over the years as well. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know which toy is associated with Hanukkah? The dreidel, a particular type of top with which a game is associated, is a traditional activity for children during this time of year. The dreidel is very commonly recognized as a symbol of the Jewish people in the US. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Are there any holidays with religious significance in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Kwanzaa is a holiday in the United States that celebrates the heritage of African Americans. The holiday originated in 1966 and is held from December 26th until January 1st. Today, it provides an opportunity for African Americans and other U.S. citizens to learn about each other, as well as a day that serves as a uniquely African American holiday. The first film about Kwanzaa was released in 2009. Do you know the name of that film? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Kwanzaa came out of the 1960s in the United States, when racial tensions were particularly high. Many leaders in the African American community wanted to create cultural events and holidays that were specific to African Americans. Kwanzaa comes out of that desire. This holiday has endured over the years and, in fact, has become more popular as the years have gone on. Kwanzaa is very much centered on community. The holiday's name comes from a Swahili term, which refers to both tradition and reason. There are 7 principles associated with Kwanzaa: unity, collective work and responsibility, self-determination, purpose, cooperative economics, creativity, and faith. The holiday was recently commemorated with its own stamp issued by the United States Postal Service. Over the years, Kwanzaa has become an ideal occasion for people to learn about African American heritage and culture. Art, literature, music, and dance are all celebrated at this time of year and shared with friends and family, as well as with people outside of the African American community. While it may have come out of a divisive time, Kwanzaa has become a very unifying holiday and one that's widely acknowledged and celebrated. Kwanzaa has a 7-candle candelabra that's lit over the course of the holiday. This is a tradition similar to other holiday celebrations during the darkest time of year when lights are very important symbols. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know the name of the first film about Kwanzaa that was released in 2009? The Black Candle was the first American film about the Kwanzaa celebration. It has been featured in other films, however, but not as a central element. Most people in the United States are familiar with Kwanzaa, and whether or not they celebrate it, they generally do know when it's held. Hi everybody, my name is Alicia, and I'm here in the studio today with...
Michael, hello.
And today we're going to be talking about things that every American kid knows, so let's get right into it. These are going to be things that we think that maybe now, I imagine, most or all American kids are aware of or have done to some degree. So let's compare. Why don't you start us off?
This is a good one. I think everybody knows this. Everybody still should know this, is the magic word. So usually when you want to get someone to say please, you're trying to teach little kids how to be polite, teach them proper manners. And so you say, what's the magic word? And they say, please. So for example, hey mom, can I have a cookie? What's the magic word? Can I have a cookie, please? And then you give them the cookie.
Yep, it's better than saying, say please, I feel like. Saying, what's the magic word is, I don't know, it's kind of like a more fun way to tell kids, be polite, say please and thank you.
Kind of hypocritical to be like, say please.
Yeah.
Well, that's not very polite, mom.
Yeah, that's true. Nice one. Okay, good. All right, I'll go to my first one. Okay, you'll see in a second maybe what I picked. Let's start with, let's see. I'll start with this one. I think kids probably all over the world are aware of this one or some variation. I don't know what it's called in many different languages, but hide and seek. Hide and seek is a very, very basic game. I mean, the game is explained pretty much here, hide and seek. So a bunch of kids hide and then one person usually seeks or looks for all the other kids. So this was one of those games that you'd play with a group of friends or even just, with one of your siblings if you don't have a whole lot of people. But the basic concept of the game is one or more people hide, and then a few seconds later, you go look for those people. I assume that you played this game. I assume that every child played this game.
Hours and hours and hours spent playing this game. So, I mean, there's different variations of the game, but you have a home base usually. And so that's where the person starts. And you usually count to 30, 100, something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And so you close your eyes, the person who's it, and they, okay, 1, 2, 3. And then when you are finished, you say, ready or not, here I come. And you try to find them. And then if you are hiding and you make it to the home base and you touch it, you're free. You made it. You win.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, multiple people can win. It's really like a young kid game.
Yeah.
I don't think I played it after 9 years old.
Yeah, I think maybe around junior high school was probably the last time that I played it. Yeah. Okay. Hide and seek. Yeah, play hide and seek. If you haven't, I don't know. I bet it'd be fun as an adult too, in the right situation.
Make it a drinking game, something like that. I don't know.
You said it, so I didn't have to. Okay. Let's go to your next one. What's your next one?
I guess talking about games, Thumb War.
Oh.
Thumb War. So I think most people do this around the world. They know the thumb war, which is like this, and you try to catch them. But the thing that not everyone knows is, and I think every American kid knows, is you say 1, 2, 3, 4.
I declare a thumb war. Ready, go.
Yeah.
Did you not have a ready go?
I don't remember that last part.
Oh, I had a ready go. Okay.
And then you try to get him. So
yeah, you try to fight and keep the other person's thumb down. In retrospect, that's not a very good game, is it?
Nah. Yeah, these are all...
terrible game. Yeah, I did it too, though. But
tic-tac-toe or something.
But people would always kind of get a little bit too into it, and then they'd sort of kind of try and rip their hands out of
right. Or do you use this finger, you cheat. What is that called? The hook? No hooks.
I'm not aware of the hook.
So this, you do it, and then you use this finger. So you're trying to do it. It's hard, and then you just cheat basically. So yeah, it's a stupid game for little kids, basically. It's like tic-tac-toe. You can play it like 1,000,000 times, and usually you get a tie. It's just like something to do when the teacher's talking, and it's just easy. You don't need a ball. You just kind of like, okay, let's play them.
You're a terrible child, weren't you?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Never listened.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go to my next one. Another game. I picked Duck, Duck, Goose. Yes? Yeah,
of course,
Duck, Duck, Goose. As I was writing this card, I was thinking to myself, why is it called Duck, Duck, Goose of all things? Okay, so the game is very, very simple, I think. You need a group of people for this one now, but you form a ring of children usually, and then there's one person who walks around the outside of the ring, and they touch each person on the head as they walk by and say, duck, duck, duck. And then randomly, this one person will select one child and say, goose, you're the goose. And so if you are chosen as the goose, you have to get up and chase the other person around the circle and try to get back to the place where you were sitting down before them. No, you have to tag them, right?
The person who was going duck, 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 and then goose, they try to run around the circle and steal your spot.
Right.
And you, if you're fast enough, you can run around, and if you tag them, then they keep going, and you get your spot still.
Right. So it's like a seeded version of tag almost. But I don't know why we call it duck, duck, goose.
Yeah, no clue.
I don't know.
Okay. So this one is actually, I think it's like from Scotland or something. I don't know. I forgot. I looked it up. But eeny, meeny, miny, mo. So usually when you're trying to decide who, let's say you want to play hide and seek, and you don't know who's going to be the one who's it. So then you'll go eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by his toe. If he hollers, make him pay $1,000 every day. Okay, you're it. And there's a few variations of that. Pretty much everyone knows that. I still use it to this day, honestly.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
I think that most people shorten it, though, because the whole tiger thing is quite long. So I think eeny, meeny, miny, mo. It's just a rhyme to choose someone. I mean, you could flip a coin or do like rock, paper, scissors or something like that. But for whatever reason, we do this eeny, meeny, miny, mo thing.
Did you ever do nose goes?
As a child, no. As an adult, for a drinking game, yes. See, this is the thing. All the things that were like children's games become adult drinking games when you grow up.
Slowly get perverted.
We're very, very mature. Okay, my last one is truth or dare. Perhaps this is more for like junior high school and high school age, when you start getting a little bit more like curious is maybe the right word. So the game is, there are two choices that you can make in this game. Truth, where your friends will ask you a question and you have to reply with the truth to that question. So usually truth is like, who's the person that you like? Or do you want a boyfriend or do you want a girlfriend? Usually it's something like that. If you don't choose truth, then you have to choose dare. So dare is the choice where your friends get to tell you to do something, and it's usually something crazy. So you either have the option of being, in other words, humiliated by sharing something secret or humiliated by doing something embarrassing. It's a fun game of humiliation to play with your friends. I actually have some good memories playing this game. Nothing like bad, really. Just really, really silly stuff, actually. Like singing weird songs in front of like my friends' parents, that kind of thing.
Right, put underwear on your head or something.
Yeah.
For me, the one I remember that just came to mind is they told me, I was like, okay, dare. And then they said to go outside, act like a cow, get on all fours, and take a big mouthful of the grass and chew it. So that was kind of...
That's a creative dare.
Yeah. That was like, that's why I still remember it. Because usually they're just kind of like, I dare you to like, I don't know, drink too much ketchup or something. I don't know, just something kind of... Yeah, I don't know, that was a pretty good one.
Drink too much ketchup?
No, I don't, maybe I've never heard that either.
Decide where too much ketchup is. That's too much ketchup. Yeah. I decided 2 tablespoons is adequate.
It's like the...
Anyway. Sorry.
Every time.
All right, I'm out. I think maybe you're out. Okay, great. So those are a few things that perhaps, I think most, if not all, American kids know or are aware of. A lot of them were games. Maybe you have similar games in your country. So if you've had some interesting experiences playing these games, or if you have a game that's similar to one of the games or one of the ideas that we've talked about here, please let us know in a comment. It'd be interesting to compare. Any other ideas?
That's about it.
That's about it? Okay. Well, thanks very much for joining us for this episode of English Topics, and we will see you again soon. Take care. Bye. Hi everybody, my name is Alicia and today I'm joined in the studio by
Michael, hello.
And today we're going to be talking about the Halloween experience in the United States. So we're going to share some things about our experience as children and perhaps as adults with Halloween thus far. So the first topic for discussion for today is our favorite costume. So this is something that we've actually worn at any point in time for Halloween. So for you, what has been your favorite costume thus far?
So this was a tough one to think about because the fun costumes I've made, I had more fun making than wearing. Like I made like a Mega Man costume, a Mega Man Jedi costume that was pretty cool, but my favorite was the kissing booth.
Oh.
So this was one of those easy, you don't make it. You go to the store and you buy it, and it just has like plastic PVC pipe in a square with a red curtain and like text that says kissing booth. It's really easy. My friend had it. It was last minute. I didn't have a costume. He said, hey, you should use this. And it was a lot of fun. But it was before, I was still young. So it wasn't this like crazy, passionate, drunken, woo. It was, I was like 15. So it was just a peck. But it was the first time to get kisses and stuff. And it was just, so that was my funnest memory of wearing a costume.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. Mine, I went a different route with, I picked a character actually. I went one year as Tom Hanks from Castaway. So I had like just a ripped up white t-shirt and some, I just bought like a pair of old pants at the thrift store and ripped those up a bit, and I made my hair really, really big and kind of put some like fake bruising on my face. And then I made a paper mache Wilson. The volleyball that he had with him on the island, I made like the handprint and everything on it and carried that around. Castaway was a famous Tom Hanks film from, 10 or 15 years ago now? I don't even know when that movie came out, but Castaway, Tom Hanks is stuck on an island by himself. His only companion is a volleyball that has a bloody handprint on it, and he names the ball and you'll watch the movie. So yeah, I chose to go as Tom Hanks' character from that movie that year. Yeah, that was like you say, it was more fun to make the costume than it was to wear the costume almost. How does one trick or treat, by the way?
Trick-or-treating is basically going door to door to your neighbors, usually with your parents so that there's no, dangerous kind of possibilities. You knock on the door and you say, trick or treat, and, there's 5 or 6 cute little kids in costumes, and then whoever's living there gives you candy. And you have, the most common thing is you just get a pillowcase. But they also have they want to sell plastic jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah.
Which the jack-o'-lantern's like the pumpkin. I think most people know that. And it has the cut hole. So it's plastic. You can buy those, or just, pillowcase and get it full of candy. And you go to as many houses as you can, trying to get as much candy as you can. And, if you're kind of mischievous or whatever, you're greedy or you want to maximize your candy profit, you plan beforehand with your friends and you go, okay, we're going to skip that neighborhood. That's the poor neighborhood. They don't give anything good. Let's go to the rich neighborhood and we'll hit it. And then if we change costumes, we can go twice and get twice as much candy and
That was hardcore.
But, or you can just go and, hey, trick or treat to your neighbors and yeah. What was your trick or treating experience? What?
I was a much kinder trick-or-treater.
You didn't con your neighbors? I mean,
No.
that's the typical United States kind of...
Really? Maybe. I don't know. We didn't really plan it out. We'd just... I think my parents were just like, let's go and let's make sure the kids have a good time, but let's come home. And then when my brother and I got old enough, we didn't really want to do it anymore, so we would stay at home. But one of the things that actually bothered me about that phase, when I got too old to trick-or-treat, but I would stay home and give candy to the kids, there would inevitably be this, a handful of kids who were too old to be doing it. And they would come in these, what?
Too old, that's my...
Too old, yeah.
That was my trick-or-treating experience.
Were you that kid that would come to the door at 16 and you'd have a mask, a ski mask or something, and then just jackets would be trick or treat, and there'd be these little row of 5 and 6 year old kids in their costumes, and then there'd be this guy that just walks up with a pillowcase in the end, and I was like, come on, dude, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
Was that you?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, why? Why?
Yeah, well, we were in the weird in-between, and so I had a baby face. I went through puberty later, so I still looked like a kid, And so some of my friends were the older, they were those kids, and that's when we planned it. When we were old enough to go on our own, that's when we planned, okay, we should go to the rich neighborhood and this and this. Before, yeah, you just go with your parents, and they're tired, they don't want to walk around, they can just buy you candy. So they're just like, okay, let's go around, and you have fun, you go around just your neighborhood a couple times, and you just love the idea of it. I mean, it's pretty easy to please a kid. But yeah, there's that awkward in between where once you get like armpit hair and facial hair, your voice gets deep, cut it, don't do it anymore. If you don't party, too bad, stay home, do that kind of thing. Yeah, you were asking earlier, what was my experience? Were there any costumes that were kind of hard to wear? I remember one, I asked my stepmom, I wanted to be the, what is that called? The pumpkin on the head, he rides a horse, the what?
Ah, the Headless Horseman?
The Headless Horseman, yes. So I wanted to be that. I think there was a movie that came out, I thought it was really cool.
Sleepy Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow, yeah. It was cool, so she made one for me. And I remember just the head, it was an actual like pumpkin on top of my head. So it would like, bobble around and stuff. And so tiny little kid bopping around. I kept having to go back to the house, duct tape, kind of like add to the costume until eventually I just took it off. And then you just get, I think it was a Jason mask. There's always the plan B costumes.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
The lazy costumes that you're like, okay, let's just give up. You put a sheet on your body and cut 2 holes and you're a ghost. There's the lazy, like, poor costumes that I think that was the plan B.
Right. Okay, so when you did go trick-or-treating, was there anything that you got that you were just so excited to receive?
Oh, yeah.
Was there a favorite candy?
Yeah. I put the best, the okay, and the worst. So
you're very organized.
So the worst is Tootsie Rolls. I don't know, I hated Tootsie Rolls. They have like no flavor. It's more of like an old people candy, and I think it's cheap. And so you get those and you're like, ugh. And that was like 30-40% of my bag was Tootsie Rolls I didn't want.
Yeah, it's like a chewy chocolate, it's real small. Like
looks like a cat turd, like it's really, in general, it's just no good.
You always paint such vivid images with your words, Michael.
So, and then the medium that I liked, that most people didn't like, but I loved, but you get so many of them, it's hard to really love them, are the candy corns. And that's like essential, like Halloween candy, right?
Actually, yeah, that was my worst, actually. Not because I don't like them, because candy corn is perfectly good, but when you get the candy corn, inevitably it like goes to the bottom of your bag and it's just like hanging out down there and you're like, I don't know if I should eat this, I don't think I will. Candy corn is the thing that you like keep in a dish in your grandma's house, not the thing that you give out. And that's also one of those safety things that like they tell trick-or-treaters, like don't eat any loose candy that you find in your bag, because if it's not actually wrapped up, then someone could have done something to it. Yeah, so if I got candy corn, we were always like, who did this?
They stick together, they kind of like melt and kind of like
stick, you get the kind of mutated corn, the candy yarn.
Pelament and stuff like that.
Okay, and then what was the best for you?
The absolute best, and this I think is more unique to the United States experience, is peanut butter. I loved either Reese's Pieces or the absolute best was Butterfinger, not because Butterfinger is better than Reese's, but because it's bigger. So you get the king size. So basically you want the biggest bang for your buck. You want the most amount, and so a lot of times it was the bite-sized version, these tiny little, it wasn't good enough. So when you had, that one house, it was the like you said, it had the lights on, it had tons of decorations, you knew they meant business. You knew they were generous, they were like a, newlywed couple or something, or like old people who were lonely. I don't know, but for some reason, they had tons of decorations and they invested a lot of money in Halloween. So you're like, yeah, go to that house, and you get a king size, Butterfingers bar. It was awesome. And then there's the candy corn and that stuff. So it just like paled in comparison. I love that.
Yeah. I think, you're right. I love peanut butter. Reese's peanut butter cups, even today, I cannot buy them because I just eat them instantly. All of them. Just like, that was like all of Costco gone. Okay, but when I was a kid though, now I'm in the same boat. I love peanut butter and dark chocolate. Oh mama, it's so good. But when I was a kid, my favorite things to get were Skittles or Smarties. And actually I found them. I was gonna eat these before we started filming this video, but I found these over in the snack corner over there, Skittles. Skittles are just a fruity flavored, small, kind of hard candy. And then Smarties, I feel like there are two camps on Smarties. Smarties are kind of a chalky, I don't even know what they're made of, just like a chalky sugar. And when I was a kid, and even now, I don't know why, something about the act of eating it was very pleasant. It's just, it had a weird consistency to it, and I liked that. And so I would always just like slowly like eat them like one tab at a time. I just, even now, I'm like, oh, I wish I could. I really want some now, but yeah, it's just that was my favorite. Those two were my favorite when I was a kid. I think that's what we talked about is actually probably pretty typical of what the Halloween experience is like for kids. Of course, as you become an adult, the experience will change to some degree. You stop trick-or-treating and you stay inside and go to adult Halloween parties, which is fun as well. Any thoughts? Anything else? Do you know what you're going to be for Halloween this year, by the way?
Ooh, I was thinking, I just watched The Princess Bride, which is a very nostalgic movie, and I was thinking about being the masked guy. It's a simple costume. It's like all black. I just like the movie. I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, actually, I'm trying to think about it. I'm thinking usually, the last couple of years, I've kind of tried to go a little too complex, and then I like last year I did a robot. I tried to do like an android robot, and I painted all these lines on me, but it just came off, and it just looked bad after a while. So I'm thinking about going like kind of simple and like classic monster. We'll see though. I really don't know. I've been thinking about it. Anyway, that's all for the Halloween experience for this time around. Please let us know if you've had any interesting experiences with Halloween or a similar holiday in your country. Let us know in the comments for sure. Thanks very much for watching this lesson, and we will see you again soon. Bye! Hi everybody, my name is Alicia, and today I'm joined again in the studio by
Michael, hello.
And today we're going to be talking about bad habits in English. So these are some things that we've heard before or mistakes that native speakers and non-native speakers of English make and that drive us crazy. So let us begin. You start. What's your first thing?
This doesn't bug me too much until someone points it out about me, and then it drives me nuts. Yeah. Okay, once you tell someone that they say or like too much, then every time they say it, they notice it, and it's really hard to get a thought out because these are filler words that you almost always use, or I always use, maybe Americans always use, but it's really tough not to use the word like or I think, when you're just speaking casually.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, like...
Right?
Now?
See?
Why
Exactly.
did you have to make that the first word? Why did you have to make that the first one? Actually, we talked about that. We have a video, I think, from probably like a year ago, one of the English Weekly Words videos, where the word like was one of the words that Americans overuse. I don't know where that information came from, but that was, see? Oh my God, now I'm suddenly aware of it.
Right.
Why? Oh,
Yeah, just
God.
killed
This whole thing, I'm going to be thinking about how often I say like and Okay, let's see. I'm going to go to one that I think all of us talked about and all of us were aware of before we even turned the camera on, but this one is written. This is a written problem that drives me nuts, and there are so many variations on this with other words, but this is the big one. Your, Y-O-U-R, this is a do not equal sign, Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. So this one, your, Y-O-U-R, is a possessive word. This is your shirt, your bag, your whatever. Y-O-U apostrophe R-E is a contracted form of you-are. Interestingly enough, though, I will say that I rarely see non-native speakers of English make this mistake. Most of the time, it's native speakers who make this mistake. Come on, guys. Really? It just drives me nuts.
Yeah, that one
really drives me nuts.
That one bugs me too, because it's really simple. I mean, there's another one that still kind of bugs me, but I'm more forgiving, is its and its, because they're both I-T-S, and one of them has an apostrophe, and in both cases, it seems reasonable, because you can use an apostrophe for possessive or for a contraction. So both seem reasonable. And you just have to do like, a mnemonic device, figure it out. There's rules. I'm sure there's a, English Class 101 episode on it,
No
but,
apostrophe is the one that's the possessive. The apostrophe S is the one that's short for it has or it is.
Right. But it makes sense. It's kind of tough for some people to remember. You or your and your, that really upsets me.
Yeah.
Just because it's so easy.
It's simple. That and there, we talked about this earlier before this. The there, and there. The possessive THEIR. for that's their house, that's their dog, T-H-E-R-E, it's over there, and T-H-E-Y apostrophe R-E, they are. There are three different theirs. Sound the same, but they have different meanings, and they should be spelled differently too. So come on, native speakers, get it together. Okay. All right, next one for you. What's your next one?
Along the same lines of being just like correct, could have. So I think the problem with a lot of these words is, so it's supposed to be could have. But when you're speaking the language, any language, you make it quicker and quicker and you kind of slur the words together. So like, for example, grandma or grandma. Like native speakers, you don't really say the D, you just say like grandma, grandma. And so as a kid, I thought that's how you spelled it. And I remember spelling G-R-A-M-M-A. Someone told me, no, that's not it. So could have, it makes sense why people would say could have, but it's not proper, and you shouldn't get in the habit of doing it. I think most of these things, you can be forgiving when they're kids, but it's best to nip it in the bud because, it just becomes a bad habit.
Yeah, and I mean, with could have, there is a correct contracted spelled version. It's just could have apostrophe V-E. Could have. I mean, I would argue that it's more casual and it's perhaps not the most correct thing to write. I probably would just write could have. I probably wouldn't use the contracted form so much. Use of contractions will make you sound more casual. If you want to write a formal letter, I feel you should not use contractions. If you're writing an academic paper as well, don't use contractions. Spell it out. Spell the whole thing out. You'll sound much more formal and more, at least in my mind, more educated. All right, great. This topic is getting me all like fancy. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna go to another pronunciation issue that I feel like almost is cool now. Okay, let me ask you a question. This pronunciation. Okay, so I've written axe on this card, but it's ask. A-S-K, let me ask. Okay, so this let me, which we talked about in a previous video, which is short for let me, I've contracted it here to the very casual let me. But I've used let me here because this is typically said in a very, very casual setting. Let me ask you a question. But the pronunciation of ask should not be ax. It's ask. Let me ask you a question. I want to ask you something. It's not ax. It's ask. Ask.
Yeah, this one, again, so like lemmy is okay. I think most people say lemmy. I think that's okay. But for some reason, axe, I think a lot of these just are not even close at all. Let me, when you say it really fast, it sounds like lemmy.
Lemmy.
Right? But when you say axe, it's just totally wrong.
Well, it's reversing the consonants in the word ask.
Right, it's not faster. You're not making it quicker. You're not slurring or making, putting it into one little like fluid blob. It's just, you just switch the two syllables.
Similarly, I hear this with the word asterisk as well. The little star that's on like the number 8 on your keyboard or whatever, this looking thing, it's not an asterisk or what, I don't even know, it's asterisk.
So, overpronunciation. So this one is kind of the opposite direction. So this whole time we've been kind of nitpicking when you use the incorrect version of a word. I think overpronunciation can also be equally as damaging, but instead of making you look stupid, it makes you look pretentious. So for example, we don't say in English, we don't use all of the syllables with chocolate. So it's like when you spell it, chocolate. Wait, chocolate, right? And so like maybe in Spanish or something like that, they would still say that, like chocolate or something, whatever. But with English, we took it out. And so even though you still spell all of those syllables, native speakers now say chocolate. Or like comfortable, comfortable. That's how it's spelled, but native English speakers, we say comfortable. And this is like, now I think it's like unanimous. So maybe when slang becomes so popular that it's part of the new language, the language is now evolved, if you don't go with the flow, even though it's incorrect, I think you sound pretentious.
That's a great one. I like that a lot. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up. I have 2, actually. I think I can do them quickly, though. Do you have any more, by the way? No?
No.
Okay, then I'll go quickly. These are 2, my last 2 are just a couple that my students actually struggle with, so maybe this is something that you can work on as well. This one, just an example sentence, I want to go to there. I've underlined the word to here. We use the word to when we're talking about a specific city or a specific country. Like I want to go to New York, I want to go to Europe. But there is not a specific location. I want to go to there is not a specific place. So you don't need to use to in this sentence. I want to go there is perfectly fine. So this is a mistake that non-native speakers, it seem to make from time to time. Perhaps. Okay. And then another one that I've heard a lot recently is this phrase, in case of, and then a country. So for example, in case of China, in case of Egypt or whatever, where someone is trying to explain like the political situation or a policy in that country, in case of. But actually, you don't need to use case of, just in China, in Europe, in Japan, whatever. You don't need to use case of. This pattern, in case of, is used for like an emergency situation or used to talk about alternate plans, often to do with weather. So for example, in case of rain, the event will be canceled. Or in case of tornado, please go to your nearest evacuation center. I don't know, something like that. So it's used for like an emergency situation. It's not used to talk about policies in a country. It's just use in plus the place. It's much better, much more natural. So those are a few things that I've noticed that non-native speakers struggle with sometimes. So perhaps they'll be helpful for you as well. So thanks very much for watching. If you have a bad habit that you've noticed when you're speaking English, or if you've noticed a bad habit in somebody else in their English speaking or their writing or whatever, please leave it in a comment and let's compare. It might be interesting to see if there are any other things that people tend to struggle with. Thanks very much for watching this episode, and we will see you again soon. Bye.
Want to speed up your language learning? Take your very first lesson with us. You'll start speaking in minutes and master real conversations. Sign up for your free lifetime account. Just click the link in the description.